we raise a smarter child? How do we raise a child to think critically? How do we raise successful children? All valid questions that don't necessarily have a one and done answer. But the answer isn't as complex as you think it is. By the end of today's video, you are going to have a scientific-based approach to address that. But don't let that freak you out. I swear it's going to be user-friendly. So let's get started. Welcome back. If this is our first time meeting, my name is Alicia Tomowski, and this is my channel, The Parent Brain Ballgame. Because let's be honest, guys, sometimes this parent brain, it is just not all that intuitive. And you have to play ball with your kids, both figuratively and literally, to get that job done. Here, my passion is to provide you with parenting tools, not tips, tricks, or hacks, but parenting tools that have an applied behavior analysis foundation, and I like to think that I make them user-friendly. Now, I want to set you guys up for success. I like to make these videos relatively short. The odds are you're a caregiver and you have a short amount of time that you're working with anyways, so I kind of need to drop that knowledge as quickly as possible. So go get yourself a notebook because we're gonna get started. So what's the answer? How do we raise smarter children? We're gonna start at infancy, but don't freak out. If you're watching this video and you don't have an infant, I'm gonna move relatively quickly. I'm gonna go all the way up to the age of 4 or 5. We're gonna go up to the ages of around 4 or 5 years old. And I'm gonna give you specifics. Now, I'm also gonna drop like little ear tags, little notes in the description, so you can kind of know when I'm gonna be talking about each one of those age groups in the video. Not that you're sitting through this whole damn thing and you're waiting for it to be relevant for you. Okay, so let's start around that infancy to about 12 months. What we want to start doing is we want to start laying down the foundation of learning from their environment. And what do I mean by that? Let's start honing in and let's utilize that joint attention, okay? So by that I mean, you're going to go out on your walks. You're going to get your kid to, oh my gosh, look at that birdie over there. Look at the same thing that you're looking at. You want them to start to observe their environment. Oh my gosh, look at that train. Oh, it's so loud, isn't it? But let's count the cars. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh my gosh, I think it's a passenger train. People are gonna get out of it. You're narrating the environment for them. And speaking of their environment, what you also wanna do is find something in your home or something in their room, something that is a constant, something that does not change. You are going to change it. So for example, me, I have one of those mobiles. No, Lord. Oh, that's nice. Okay, so I have one of those little mobiles that was on top of my crib for all my kids. And it was the same all the time. But what I ended up doing is every week I changed a character on that mobile. I have one of those dangly ones that you could like change little strings. So I changed it weekly. So what I ended up doing is I would lay my kid in the crib and then I would draw attention, join attention. I would draw attention to that mobile. I would spin it, turn on the music, that kind of thing. And then I would wait, see if they're kind of like focusing on it. And then I would be like, oh my God, you're right. What is different about this? Let's look. Oh, there's still the piggy. Oh, there's still this. That horse, that's not a horse, that is a monkey, okay? Again, there needs to be some sort of foundational skills of learning from their environment. They need to observe it. Now, let's move right along to reading. Huge thing. Huge for getting a child to learn. You want to be able to read to your kid. Read to your kid every night. And most kids have that book that they like to read over and over and painfully over again. What you're going to do is you're going to start switching it up. Okay, you're gonna start switching up those words every once in a while and seeing if your kid catches it. You're gonna be like, oh my God, and let's say it's about a monkey. The main character is a monkey. And you're gonna say, oh, and the blue caterpillar, and see if they notice. And then we're gonna keep it up that way, make it kind of like a big joke. Speaking of switching it up, now you're going to move on to those lullabies. Everybody has their favorite lullaby, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, Baa Baa Black Sheep, something like that. Same concept as we did with reading. You're going to be switching up a big component, an obvious component for your child. And then you're going to become a little bit more sly about it. But at first, when you first introduce it, it's going to become like a twinkle, twinkle, little monkey, and then make a joke out of it and see, like, oh my gosh, Mom, you're right. Oh, that was so silly of Mommy. It is not a monkey. It is a purple elephant. No, it's not. So then we move forward that way. Again, it's getting your child to attend, and that is the foundation of raising a smarter child. Okay, now that we focused on their environment, let's start moving towards maybe some of their skills, okay? Again, still focusing on that from that infancy to 12 months, but let's start doing those ring stackers, that arranging things from different sizes. That helps play into counting and actually geometry. Let's do some peekaboo. That helps our children discern sounds and voices, okay? Now let's move on to, okay, they've got that pincer grasp type of thing. Now, let's reach into a bag. Let's put a whole bunch of different objects into a pillowcase. Once they're in that pillowcase, now let's have our child pull them out. Here, we're working on sensory input. Now, after I pull them out, now you're going to start labeling that object. These are all activities that you can do to help your child start engaging that brain activity and that connectivity from early on. Then accounting even starts between the ages of like 9 to 12 months. Why not start counting our shoes? Why not start counting our hands? Again, helping our child develop and refine some of those skills. Moving right along, now we're going to go into the age group of around 12 to 18 months. You're going to revisit those songs. You're going to revisit those lullabies. At this point, you're going to kind of pause. It's going to become Twinkle, Twinkle, Little. And that way you're encouraging that language. They're going to make some sort of approximation, any form of vocalization, and we are going to be proud. We are going to cheer because there's that brain activity going on, being like, you're not done. The song's still going. Come on, there's still more words to it, and they're helping you and they're trying to finish it. That's great. And you can still, again, bring on those egregious mistakes with those lullabies. It kind of becomes funny at that point, and the children really enjoy it. Now, let's also go back to our books. And at this point, what you're going to do is instead of making those egregious mistakes with the books, what you're going to do is you're going to have your child start pointing. And it's going to become like, I don't know, the Three Little Pigs. If you're reading the Three Little Pigs and it's like, oh my gosh, can we point to the piggies? Show me where the piggies are. I'd love for you to show me where the piggies are. Pause. Always give a pause. Always give about 2 seconds, 2 to 5 seconds for your child to respond independently. And then you're going to prompt, hand over hand, physically prompts. There's the piggy. Oh my gosh, there's the little girl piggy. There's a little boy piggy. There's the brother piggy. Something along those lines. Again, this way, one, you're offering the opportunity of that independent response. Then, if they're not doing it, now I'm going to help you along with developing those skills. Okay, now let's move on to that 1 to 2 years age group. At this point, you can get a little bit more complex. But you also want to think about building off of all those other skills that we started doing around infancy, 12 months. Think of some of those activities and make it a little bit more complex. Make it a little bit harder. Change up the toys or objects or whatever the hell it is that you put in that grab bag, okay? Or you can even make it like similar stuff. You can make it like I was about to call a brain, but I don't know where I was going with that. So a ball, let's use a ball, and like a square or a ball and one of those squishy balls, something like that. Make some of those activities a little bit more complex. For around 1 to 2 years of age, I also like to introduce matching. My children really liked that Seekaboo game. Honestly, it's great, okay? It's the same kind of thing. You can put them in a high chair, you can lay them on the floor, do it with them type of thing, to where, again, you're giving them a card and they have to match it. Now, you're going to put that card right back to where it was. So it's kind of like a game of memory. Again, strengthening some of those brain connections. Okay, so let's move right along into that 2-3-year-old age group, okay? So let's work on puzzles, okay? Let's do a familiar puzzle. Let's encourage storytelling. Tell me a story about this familiar particular puzzle that we're looking at. This encourages spatial recognition, math, fine motor skills, okay? Now, what we can also do is we can also work with Play-Doh. Not my favorite activity, but we can do it. It's good for the children, right? So we can start encouraging like that rolling pin, motor skills. We can start shaping into letters. This is really good for letter recognition, additionally to those fine motor skills. You can also, my type A personality would be like cringing at this, but you can start mixing colors to show children that like certain primary colors mix in to create other colors, okay? We can also start doing bigger, smaller concepts. Look, mommy's shoes are so much bigger than yours. Oh, look, your jacket is so much smaller than mommy's. And then maybe start having them identify what's bigger, what's smaller throughout their environment, okay? We can also work on those counting skills. Math, super important for developing that brain for our smarter child, right? So let's start counting blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then quickly add in that next one and see if they can go straight to 6. Or give them 5 and say, okay, can you tell me how many blocks do we have? Sometimes children do have to recount. Totally acceptable. Well, you're right, we have 5. And then as they're counting the 5, slip into 6 and see if they can add that 6th one. If not, then we go through and be like, okay, look, you had 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mommy added another one. 5, 6. 5 plus 1 extra 1 is 6. Again, super simple, and it's a fun way of learning. Again, we want to encourage learning from our environment, and learning these skills are fun. We don't want to make them daunting. That's just not fun for everybody. Okay, so let's move right along into that like 3 to 4-year-old age group, okay? This is when imaginative play is starting to evolve. So why don't we capture that? Capture's not the word. Capitalize. Why don't we capitalize on that imaginative play at this point, okay? Let's use like the cash register, like that one that makes noise. And then like, out comes the drawer, right? All kids love that, okay? So what we're gonna start doing is we're gonna start putting price tags on like fruit and toys, like whatever that you have like in their little toy kitchen, if you will. The point is not to get our kid to be able to identify like dollar amounts at this point. It's also not to get our kid to identify the numbers. What we want to do is we want to get the fundamental more than, less than concept. So you as the customer are going to be purchasing 3 strawberries versus 1 orange. Which one is more than, less than? Which one should, if we were quantifying based on the number, is going to be costing me more than, less than kind of thing. So again, don't focus on the fact that like we're doing like accounting with our kid at 3 to 4 years old. No, we're just getting the fundamentals of more than, less than. Another thing that we can do is what I like to do is I got like those big like puzzle pieces, like I don't know, I got like a picture of, you can do pictures or objects, whatever, like of a flower or a train, and get maybe like 3 of them, and then you're gonna get one of those little colorful scarves, and you're gonna kind of do like an abracadabra bippity boppity boo kind of thing. So you're gonna put the scarf on it, and then you're gonna like puff it up, but one of those objects is going to be gone. So now you're going to look at your kiddo and be like, something suspicious here. And then you're going to have them count. There's 1, 2, there's 1 missing. There was 3. So I originally had 3. Now I only have 2. There's 1 missing. What is that one that is missing? So at this point, now again, we're working and stretching that memory muscle in terms of like, which object is it that's missing? But I'm also focusing on math. What is it that, or how many were originally there? Now, what I'm hoping that you guys are getting from all of these examples, from infancy down to our 4-year-old, or up to, however I want to phrase that, up to, from infancy to 4, right? We're going up. So I'm hoping what you guys are gathering from this is it's so much more than memorization. You should not be so worried about your kid doing that rote responding of A, B, C, D, E, F, G, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's memorization. We don't want to focus so much on the memorization. We want to focus so much more on our child learning from the environment. That is going to take them so much farther than being able to sing their ABCs, okay? And additionally, what we also want to do is we want to figure out the best way our child can learn. Like, how is it that your child learns from their environment? So for example, my eldest daughter came out of the womb loving music, okay? So she loves a beat, and I picked that up early, and I was like, okay, let's work with this. So when she found things that were really hard, and she was like, I just don't get it, I don't know, we made a song out of it. We made a song out of a rule, out of like a math rule. Even now, she's like 5, 6 years old. I make songs out of math rules. I make songs out of language arts rules type of things, okay? I figured out how she learned, and I'm helping her. You know what? When you get older and you're studying, or you really need to learn something, make it a beat, girl. You got it, okay? My next child, not so much. She loves music, but this girl will like start singing it, And then all of a sudden, like, make up shit as she goes. And now she's off on a complete other tangent. And I'm like, Eleanor, come back to me. Because that's not where we were going, okay? She's so much more of like a visual learner. So I found, again, early on, that I'm like, okay, if I attach like some sort of movement to it. So like when I was teaching her for safety purposes, she's 4, safety purposes, I taught her her first name, her last name, her address, her phone number, her mommy, daddy's name, all of those things that if forbidden anything were to happen, if someone were to ask her, do you know your mommy or daddy's phone number, little girl? Like immediately she can be like, yeah, because it's dun 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 dun, dun, you know, because I kind of attached like a certain body movement to it, and that's her cue. So if she looks at me and she's like, oh shit, I forgot the last 3 digits, I'll do this and she's got them right away. So it's the same kind of thing. You just have to figure out where it is that your child is, use those cues and capitalize them. That's how you're gonna raise a smarter child. Your child needs to learn from their environment. They need to be able to take cues. Your child needs to identify how he or she learns and capitalize on that shit. So this way, as they get older, they're able to be like, okay, like if this is hard for me, I know how to do it, okay? With that, guys, it wraps it up for me today. I hope you found value in today's video, and if you did, don't forget to hit subscribe and that little bell icon that lets you know of any like future trainings, and videos that I try doing. If there's any questions that you guys have, or maybe comments, and or maybe there are some things that you'd like to see me do a video on in the future, don't forget to make that comment below, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.